So I want to start with the really cool stuff. And I loved Reverend Eliza's phrasing today of not a permanent, but a settled senior minister. And so I want to talk a little bit about our new settled senior minister. Everybody should be aware on this call that we have hired Reverend Cherie Taylor Jones, and that she officially starts in May. And Reverend Eliza has agreed. You know, we got to extend her contract. Was it 2 or 3 times? I forget now. But anyway, several times, because we just couldn't let go of her. 3 times, and we allowed that flexibility in it, and so it's worked out really just perfectly. But this coming Sunday is the last one with her as our bridge interim minister, and we're so grateful. So thank you. I'm glad you're on the call, and we can acknowledge that here again. For the space you held, the stability, the openness, just everything that you've been for and with us. And we've got a kudo board for folks that haven't done that yet. You get to go on there and give her props. And we've got the picnic coming up next Sunday at 1:15. So you can go online and RSVP. I did it. It was really easy. It's on the scrolling banner up top. We'll celebrate with her on the 25th. So we also, in anticipation of Reverend Cherie coming on board, there's still time to write your love letter to Reverend Cherie, so that when she shows up here, she'll have a whole bunch of love letters written to her. And I just think that's wonderful. And her first service is going to be on May 2nd. And I reached out to her earlier this morning just to touch base via text. And I said, do you have any message for our community? So I just thought I'd read this to you real quick. She just texted me back a few things. She said, good morning. I got your message, and here's a short bulletin from me. The good news is Graham and I are now only waist deep in boxes as we are unpacking into our new home. Even though I have not officially started working at UCOH, I've been meeting up with the board members and staff to connect and listen to the energy of the community. I've appreciated the warm welcome and energy of anticipation from many of you. Those of you who may be uncertain of what my arrival may mean, I believe together we will become a unified field of good in our community where all are welcomed and celebrated. Thank you for giving me the time to move in and get settled. Looking to being with you all on my first Sunday service on May 2nd. In loving service, Reverend Cherie. So I just wanted to pass along a message from her, that she's very much thinking of us and you know, having chances to connect, and they've been moving into their new place. And so just wanted to have that connection point. So I'm glad we could do that. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was finances, and go over some fiscal highlights from the first half. We're now 6 months into our fiscal year. It starts October 1st and runs through September 30. So over the first half of 2021, we secured a second round of the Paycheck Protection Program. It was a $131,000 grant loan. We'll see how much of that is grant versus how much is loan, but the first round for $114,000 was successfully forgiven in its entirety. So we'll hold in consciousness a like forgiveness of the second PPP grant loan as well. I wanted to reaffirm that we had a very successful year-end giving campaign that put us in a good position with regard to our cash reserves. We're better off than we had been in a while. We also secured, well, they call it an economic injury disaster loan. I prefer an economically inspired divine loan of $25,000, which has allowed us to do a few things. You know, we began doing some repairs and doing some painting in the sanctuary and so forth, and replacing some really old and tired carpeting in the Wee Wisdom area. So we've been doing some of those things as a result of some of those efforts. We also, you know, we're very happy that we were able to minimize damage during the freeze. Staff, you know, took preventative measures, you know, shut off water to the building and so forth. And so we came away from the storm really relatively unscathed, which was great. There are ongoing cleanup and maintenance and renewal exercises going on around the church community. We've launched our carpet campaign, and many of you have been participating in the culture of care already. And we're looking at moving into some new marketing pieces. We Wisdom, which had to shut down as a result of the pandemic, and then open back up, and for a while it was kind of struggling to get legs back under it again, but I can happily report that We Wisdom is operating now in a productive way, and moving into these areas of reaching our desired goals. And so we're really happy that We Wisdom has bounced back, and our events group is performing well financially too. So we're pleased about that. The endowment fund continues to grow contributions, and we've seen good returns this year as well. And that's facilitated some new projects, the additional lighting on the stage, and the new carpeting on the platform. Simultaneously with all that, though, spending has been controlled. We've been at 90% of budget, which has been good, and we'll continue to be observant. And staff, I know, has been working really hard to save where we can, and operate in the most economical fashion possible. So given all of that, I'll move into where we've been as far as cash flows and so forth. You can see here we've got the table of weekly income, and this is the total realized income over time. The period here where the high spot was around the end of the year, our giving end of year giving campaign, and what we've seen is continued fluctuations in giving, which is typical. We see wide variations from week to week. Some weeks we've been above our budgets and break-even points, and some we've been below. What we've seen looking at the averages, I think, changes the picture slightly. We can see when we do a 4-week running average. So this is, each dot represents the previous 4 weeks of giving. We can see where we kind of had that peak from the year-end campaign, and then it's dropped off and leveled out around the $15,000 a week level, with some variations up and down and so forth. We also look at these from multiple averages, and I know this starts to get a little more complex, where we've got a 4-week, an 8-week, and a 13-week average. But the reason why I point this out is that all of these are kind of trending to this $15,000 a week level. And so at that level of income, we're going to be running at a deficit of around $5,000 a week or so. It will also be, well below our budget, but we're operating at less than budget. So we need to, look at that and chart our course forward accordingly. And so a few things that we'll consider when looking at things. Our weekly giving for the last 13 weeks has been, about not quite 23% below our desired targets. For the last 3 months, we've been operating at a loss. There is the potential for depletion of our cash reserves. And there's an additional list of cash actions and spending actions that we've identified, but they really aren't desired ones. We've taken a number of actions already that I've discussed previously, that were kind of the low-hanging fruit, if you will. And further actions are things that we really would particularly rather not do. So Ron had helped kind of assemble some of this information, and he had titled the chart, "If Giving Can Meet Budget Expectations," and I wanted to tweak that a little bit to "When Consciousness Meets Our Budget Expectations," because it's our consciousness and our budgets, and we want those to align. And so I'm affirming that. And when those things happen, we'll be able to increase our awareness of Unity Church of the Hills through a more robust marketing plan. We'll be able to properly introduce Reverend Cherie to Austin and the wider community. We'll have resources to have more events, classes, and workshops that we can offer to our congregants. And I would love to see those offered on more of a free basis, that we have, sufficient monies coming in that we can support those as a community, and allow, people to move into spiritual education at the lowest cost possible. We'll be able to maintain our cash reserves, and we can maintain the site and everything, per our operations plan. So one of the questions that was posed is, can we, move to request that, people sign up for recurring giving? What that will do is take that chart that we have with all of those weekly bounces and oscillations, and level it out. And so we'll have a more consistent revenue stream. And so, we're going to be asking, how can we help ourselves sign up for this and get more involved in recurring giving, to provide for financial stability and ongoing maintenance of our operations. So upcoming relative to all of this, the operations folks are going to finish the open projects and then ease off on spending a little bit. We're trying to stay responsive, and so we'll try and work within the confines of where we're at currently, but also be aspirational and increase our marketing spend. And we see that as helping attract new congregants, especially as we continue moving forward with our in-person services. And as we have our new spiritual leadership with Reverend Cherie, super excited about where she's going to be taking us spiritually, and challenging us to do our own personal work. And I think a lot of folks are going to be attracted to that that challenge. So those are some of the pieces that I wanted to put forward out there for us to talk about.